3. We'll start today's meeting. We have quite a number of people on the call. Welcome to this month's session, practical session. For the month of August to September, we've been discussing something about entrepreneurship, what we need to know as entrepreneurs. And for our practical session, today we'll be looking at your personal brand as a capital in your entrepreneurship. And for today, we have our guest speaker, as usual, who will join us. At the appropriate time, I'll do the introduction. Let's quickly go through the program lineup. So we have 5 minutes for the regular logins. Then I'll use 5 minutes to introduce our speaker, guest speaker. Then we delve straight into the discussions, which will be for 30 minutes. So by 6:40, we should be done. Then we allow 5 minutes for Q&A session. Then at exactly 5:45 to 5:50, we do the closing remarks. So hopefully by 6:50, we should close for today's session. Before I introduce the speaker, let's start with this quote from Jeff Bezos. Your brand is what other people say about you when you are not in the room. This is something we should keep thinking about. If today you are not in this call, what will people say about you? And for personal branding, I would say that it is what makes you unique. So I ask you, what makes you unique? For answers to this and many more, let me introduce our speaker. Our speaker, Prosper Ashikwe Doku, is an astute advertiser with over 16 years experience, specializing in BTL, or below the line, or ATL, what we call above the line advertising, in media strategy. He does event planning, brand creation, and strategic management. He has consulted for many agencies and institutions, including MMRS Ogilvy, Media Whiskits, TV Africa, and Versat One TV. For the last 3 years, he has been a member of the judging panel of the prestigious Miss Ghana beauty pageant. He's currently the Chief Operating Officer of Legacy 101, MD of iPromo Media, both above the line agencies, which are members of the Advertisers Association of Ghana. Welcome, Prosper, to this month's practical session.
Thank you very much, Jemima. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great. Do I have the floor to shoot, please?
Yes. So let me stop presenting so that you take over.
Okay, all right.
Hello, Prosper.
Yes. Are we okay now? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, yeah, we can see your screen now.
Okay, beautiful. Good evening to all of you, very wonderful people. I have been tasked by Jemima to take us through what I call understanding your brand as capital, which I codename Personal Branding 101. I've been introduced, so there's no need going through all of that. I just would like to add that I am a father and a philanthropist as well. That was not mentioned by Jemima, just in case somebody would need to or would want to know that. Thank you. First of all, as introduction, I would want us to go through this. That first of all, this is not an academic exercise, but for those of you who choose to, make it so, for yourself, if you so wish. Uh, that's up to you. I expect that we'll have an interactive session where everybody would contribute to the discussion too. I do not know everything, so I would be willing to add uh, a little more to what I already know by learning from you and from the questions you ask. Three, business life is a journey or a race. You would need to finish in a manner that honors your memories tomorrow. One of the reasons why we're here. Four, you would need to be connected to a source of power. Otherwise, you should be an authority yourself. Five, you would need to understand that we are all salesmen. Just identify what sells best for you or your brand and go hard at it. And nature would pay you handsomely eventually. And last but not least, in this our ecosystem, we feed on each other for survival. Lions, tigers, and other like animals feed on their kind or any other animal, uh, mostly just to survive. Just like humans, we chew herbs. Herbs are living organisms as well, just to survive. So, what I'm saying in effect is that we all rely on each other in terms of feed for survival. What am I talking about? Today, we're talking about branding, personal branding. My expectation is that at the end of this session, all of us would learn something new. And for branch people who are on this thread, I would expect you to ask questions or give addendums that will add to my slide so that when I present the same slide to some other group of people tomorrow, they will be beefed up more than we would today. What is a brand? A brand, I'm sure all of us know. Basically, as a name, tag, term, design, symbol, or anything other, or any other feature that identifies one seller's goods from the other parties or distinct from the other seller's goods. That is basically what the definition of a brand is. So then, if the definition of a brand is that, what is branding, or what is the definition of branding? Branding basically is a practice of creating that name or that design or that whatever it is, that logo, that payoff, that tag that identifies or differentiates one's product or person from another. So, what is personal branding then? The personal branding is the practice of creating a name, symbol, design, identity that identifies and differentiates you or a person from another and gives you the edge and the positioning to be known and to do more. That is my personal definition for personal branding. I'm sure you have seen so many other definitions, but I love this definition. If that is the definition, what then is capital? We're talking about brand being capital. For an entrepreneur, you would need to understand that if you create products, for me to buy your product, I need to buy you first. This is fundamental. If I don't buy you, I can't buy your product. If you don't come across to me as somebody I should buy, I trust, and so many other things, I won't buy your brand. So I searched for the definition of capital. In general terms, capital was defined as wealth in the form of money or other assets owned by a person or organization or available for a purpose such as starting a venture or investing or investment. And then I looked for a business definition of capital as well. And this is what I like most, is that assets, be it financial or material, held by an entity that can be used to leverage growth and build personal or financial stability. I love this definition because it speaks directly to personal brand as an asset, which when managed well, which process when managed well, leverages on growth and builds persons and gives you some level of stability. It could be financial or otherwise. Now, I want us to look at what is a brand, what really a brand constitutes. If you look at a brand a few things make up a brand. One, a design. You see a design somewhere and you can connect it with the brand. A logo. When you see Nestle, you know what Nestle is for. One's behavior, the way you come across to people could be your brand. Your language, that frafra man, that aware man, that gun man. Your culture, the way of life of your people can be used in identifying you. What you're looking to achieve in future, your vision, and then your mission, what you're here for, can be used to identify you. As we go through, you would understand proper. And then last but not least, communication. How you interact, how you vibe, how you relate to people when it comes to communications can identify you. Now, key elements of a good personal brand. First of all, your physique or your features, or somebody will say your looks, your name, your key characteristics, your presentation, how you put out yourself, your classification, what you do in life, accountant, marketer, engineer, doctor. It's an element of a good personal brand. Now, all of this, when put together, can be used in identifying you as a brand. Now, let's go a step further. If you look at a brand or a capital asset, what are you looking at? You're looking at perhaps a payoff line or a slogan or a tag or the brand name we spoke about. The packaging could be a product, could be you. How you package yourself is a typical Nigerian term. For a brand, your Pantone reference or your color. Companies like Unilever and Nestle I've worked for over the years are very particular about Pantone references and colors. I've worked for them, I've done mass branding for them, so your mark, you can refer to logo, you can refer to design. And then finally, you can refer to the voice or the tonality of you or your brand. Typical example, voice, name that instantly comes to mind is my brother, Komladumo. Komladumo comes to mind. I mean, if you're sleeping and Komladumo comes to your room and speaks, I mean, even if you are blindfolded, you know it is Komladumo speaking. All this are your personal assets. Now let's go a step further. What identifies your brand? The fact of being or who or what a person or thing is what identifies you, isn't it? We said that already. It is also the quality, belief, personality, looks, and expressions that make a person known to another. That makes the identity of a person, isn't it? Now let's go a step further. You are either a product or a brand, or a good or a better brand. Now, I'm sure we are all in this room today because we want to be a good or a better brand as different from what we used to be. I'm sure that is why we are here. Now, if I give you the shoe to give me a price tag, Jemima, I'll do this exercise with you. How much price tag would you put on it?
First,
Hello, Jemima, can you hear me? Yes, this shoe.
It's a men's. Okay. Can we say 300 cedis?
300 cedis. Okay, beautiful. So, what about this one? How much tag would you place on it?
Has it changed? Okay. Hey, it's a Nike. Eh? Okay. I'm not so much into things like this, but I'll say it will go for 1,000.
1,000, that's fine. That's an original Nike. What about a Nike like this?
This one, I think it will go beyond 1,000.
So I would put some $300 on it, because it has another brand on the brand. This I refer to as brand association. Look, as a human being, you are either a product, like I showed you earlier on. Yes. You are a shoe with nothing, or you are a shoe with something. Now, if you happen to be the shoe with nothing, these are your attributes. You are a product. and people just need you. You're a product, and people can easily copy you. You're a product, and you just perform a function. You're a product, and you can be outdated after some time. You're a product. You may be tangible, you may be intangible in nature. You're a product, and you are made by a manufacturer. Of course, everybody is made by a manufacturer. Even a brand is made by somebody. But you're a brand, and people wouldn't want you, or people wouldn't need you. They would want you. You're a brand because you have a distinguished identity that cannot be copied. If anybody copies it, you sue the person for a lot of money. You're a brand because you offer value as opposed to a product. You're a brand because you remain forever. We can talk about the brand life cycle. I mean, that's a subject for another discussion. You're a brand because you are intangible. You know, you're a brand because you are not made by a manufacturer. You're made by the consumer or the customer. That is what makes you different from a product. I think that somebody is giving us a radio feed from the background. And so this makes a brand different from a product. If I ask you who this is, I'm sure all of us will be able to tell who she is, because perhaps of what she has done over the years and what she continues to do. If I ask you to tell me who this is, even if I had shown you the other face on the left as opposed to the one on the right, those who do not even know him would be able to identify him, you know, or those who did not leave his time would be able to identify him. If I ask you who this is, you'll be able to tell me who he is. If I ask you who my brother Kwame is, you'll be able to tell me who he is. Kwame says something and I love it. I asked him, Kwame, what is a brand to you? This is what he said. He said, your brand is a reputation built directly and indirectly. Mark this words, directly and indirectly, based on one's actions and inactions relative to your vision. We'll break this down eventually. Then Jeff Bezos, Jemima mentioned earlier on. I met him some time ago and I asked him, Jeff, what is a brand? What is your brand? He said, your brand is what people say about you when you're not in a room. And he went further to say that, look, a brand for a company is like a reputation to a person. You know, and I love this. So, Sukura boy, I needed to take a cue from this. Somebody asked me, what is your brand? And I said, look, your brand is, in Africa, what other people say about you when you are in trouble. Look, you'll be walking nicely in your area. I mean, you dress nicely, you wear suit. Somebody has a problem with something you do. You might not be aware, but wait till you are in trouble. Somebody will say, yeah. Wait till they say Kofi has gone to rape a girl. Oh, yeah, I knew it. I mean, you can tell it from the way he walks. Look, people have all manner of things they can ascribe to you until you deliberately brand yourself. People will give you a brand. We'll get there. So, it's from the Sukura boy, Ashikore. Now, I ask you again, who is this? I'm sure, Jemima, who is this? So I'm doing this with you.
Pardon me, there's a little delay at my end. Okay, this is you.
This is who?
Prosper.
Yes.
This is you.
I can hear
Your
you.
Kente.
Jemima, who is this on your screen?
The screen I'm seeing is you defining a brand. Okay,
Really?
I can see the next one. I can see the next one.
Okay.
It's the picture of Jesus Christ.
How do you know?
I've seen a couple of artwork that had predicted or that has shown this as Jesus.
Okay. Well, I don't know. But well, I present this as a Christian, and I'll go the Christian route a bit, and pardon me for those of us who are not Christians. You know, I picked the genesis of branding and personal branding for that matter from the book of Genesis chapter 16, verse 13 to 16. Don't take it for the religious connotation of it, but just I would want you to avert your mind to the literature, you know, what it says. It says in chapter 13, when Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciple, who do people say that the Son of Man is? Remember, there is a name, the Son of Man. That's his first name. Now look at verse 14. It said, they replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others say Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the Son of Man. How many? 5. Let's go on. Verse 15. But what about you? He asked, who do you say that I am? And verse 16, Simon Peter answered, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. So Jesus Christ, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names, plus more. If I ask you who Jesus Christ is, you ascribe so many names to him. But what am I saying with this context? What I'm saying is this, that as you walk through the streets of Accra, your name is John, your name is Kofi, your name is Prosper, your name is Jemima. People have other names and definitions of who you are. And until you create a brand that puts all of that, that amalgamates all of that, you are known by everybody from the way they see you or by the way they see you. So as people, I would implore us to create personal brands that will sell us. It has to be vision tunneled. It has to be one way, and people will need to know you with that. It can be 2, it can be 3, depending on what you're doing at a point in time. But you need to create that brand, and it has to be deliberate. My next slide. These are 5 questions human beings grumble with on a daily basis. The reason why you will need to brand or rebrand. And I am a Rotarian. We had a Rotary program one of the days, and we had a soldier from Nigeria. And I was taking them through this. And he said, this is a typical military tenet. And this is something they teach you in the military every day. Hitherto, I didn't know. I got to know on that day. So like I told you before, I learn on a daily basis. I expect to learn some more from here. First of all, humans ask these questions. And humans, I refer to entrepreneurs as well. Who am I? And I refer to it as your identity. And these are questions people ask every day. The second question they ask is, where am I from? Where am I from? And I say, well, it's a question of your source. Your source. And the third question is, what am I here for? What is my purpose on earth? What is my purpose in this environment? What is my purpose in this business? What is my purpose in this ecosystem? Fourth, where am I going to, my destination? And then fifth, how do I get there? Now, that is the work. Now, this is where our concentration is going to be, the work. How do I get there? If you're human, I'm sure you ask yourself these questions on a daily basis when you wake up from bed, especially for the fact that somebody called Abraham Maslow, a philosopher, said, look, human beings at every stage of their lives want more. You know, when you give them a need at a level, they want to go the next, they want to go the next level. And because of that, human beings ask these questions every day. And if you're one who asks these questions every day, what it means is that you are a candidate for progress, you're a candidate for growth. Now, there is a practical fallacy. Ignore the biblical version. And there is a popular saying in Africa that there is no rush in life. And somebody even sang it. No hurry in life. I don't know. It's an old song from those Ghanaians who went to Nigeria and came back. No hurry in life. I don't know if you've heard that before. You know, it's a fallacy. There is no competition in life. It is a lie. I'm telling you, it is a lie. Life is competitive. You would need to put yourself up for the competition. Otherwise, you'll be relegated to the floor. Now, let's look at what I call the personal identity, which is one of the exercises we are doing today, that at the end of the day, you'll be satisfied. Who are you? I'm sure you find yourself, are you an open person? Are you an introvert? Are you stable? Are you conscientious? Are you extrovert? Are you this? Are you that? Do you think, are you the funny type? You know, we come across as people with different characteristics, you know. Are we the imaginative types? Are we people who are truthful? Are we people who are chronic liars? Are we look? We come across as different types of human beings. And remember, as a salesperson, you are going to sell to all these types of people. If you understand the way they think and the way they act, for instance, me, I have done this over the years. I've done it for so long that once I come to you and I speak a word or two to you, your response and your communication with me will tell me, who exactly you are. So if I'm selling something to you, I know how to go about it. For that matter, I have, not to blow my own horns, I have become okay in the sales business. I can comfortably sell to any human being, no matter what the product is, be it tangible or intangible, product or service, whatever it is, I'll be able to sell because I have come to understand and appreciate uh, what human beings are and what they stand for. And let me here speak about what I refer to as the carte blanche concept. Look, there is this saying that, look, every human being that is born has a blank brain, white, and there is nothing on it, and the French call it carte blanche. What it simply means is white card or white paper, and in other balances, it's raza blanca, it's a concept. The concept is that when a child is born, he has a white brain. Whatever is put on it is what the child becomes. Other people have argued that no, 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 no. Some people are born with some innate, some inside, traits. And as they grow, that comes out naturally. I agree with those ones too. Reason I agree, there are kids that are born and they are just skillful and smart. There is nothing you can do about it. Even if you put them in a hole, they are skilled, they are smart. So I agree to that one too. But I also agree to the Rasa Blanca concept. Look, give birth to twins, put one in Sukura, put one in Islego. Look, the environment can shape you, can tell who you should become and who you should not become. Somebody can grow in that does not mean that somebody can grow in Sukura and might not become as smart or anything of the sort to somebody in this. No, no, that's not the argument. The argument is that character-wise, they might pick some traits. I was born in Sukura. I'm not surprised that I go to town and you can't. I won't allow you to cheat me. Physically, emotionally, I wouldn't allow you to cheat me by virtue of the fact that I grew up in an environment where I get out of my house and I see cows coming at me. I see goats coming at me, So I understood life like that. Listen, gentlemen, you would need to know your product and understand your brand. I refer to that as know thyself. Shote ipsum. Shote ipsum. That's what Latin says. First of all, there is a need for you to understand the following for the proper strategic planning of your brand. Or you can even change brand and put your life there. One, you need to understand the physical environment you exist in. I refer to it as understanding your human settings. Understanding your human settings. Two, you need to understand your physique, your persona, and the way you think and react to things. I refer to that as understanding your human institution. Understanding your human institution. And then three, the eminent changes that come with time and hence the need for you to be dynamic. I refer to that as understanding the changes in the game. Look, life is not dynamic. Nothing is dynamic. Even brand is not dynamic. You see every now and then brands rebranding, changing logo, changing structure, changing packaging, changing this, changing that. There has to be change because time itself is not static. It is dynamic. Don't be surprised if you see a book out entitled "Understanding Your Human Institution." I'm writing a book. I've been writing this book for the past 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. Writing a book is very difficult. So if you see any such book out, it has to be coming from Prosper Ashikwe Edoku. And if you do come across it, look for the name. If it is my name, buy it. Any other name, It was stolen from me. Don't buy it. Thank you. I'm sure you can see. I understand you have a delay feed. I don't know if it is still persistent. Jemima, are you with me?
Yeah, it's quite better.
It's quite better. So you can see a white background with a face-like thing. Can you see
Yes,
it?
yes, Pastor.
Okay. What do you think the person is doing? I mean,
Is he talking?
ah,
Laughing.
somewhat a smiley face, isn't it? Okay, so that is referred to as a popular sanguine. Now, these are things that we know. All of us know sanguine, choleric, melancholy, and all. I'm sure we all know this. But there's something we would need to know about some of this that informs your brand. And I would implore you or beseech you, if that, of for lack of a better expression, beseech you to pay particular attention to this stage of my presentation. The sanguine is referred to as the talker. Is the popular sanguine. He is the one who always would ask the question, where is the fun? He's cheerful, outgoing, fun loving, but he's controlled by charm. We'll go through that into detail. I'm sure you can see another face. You can describe that yourself. I refer to that as a perfect melancholy. He, I call the thinker, the thinker. He's the one who says, if it is worth doing it, just do it and do it right. He's detailed, he's neat, he's organized, he's a perfectionist, but he's reserved, but he's also controlled by the threat of mood. We'll go into that into detail. The third person, you see that face? He's the one I call the watcher. He's a peaceful phlegmatic. He's the one who says, let's keep the peace. He's relaxed, he's adaptable, he's flexible, but he's controlled by procrastination. And then the last but not least is a powerful choleric, who I call the doer. He's the action person. Just do it. He's a Nike kind of person. He's just do it. He's strong, he's driven, he's goal-oriented, but he's controlled by fear or threat of anger. Now let's go into the details. Let's look at sanguine. Every personality trait has its own strengths and weaknesses. Why am I presenting this to you? I'm presenting this to you because you would need to understand the brand you are in order to create one you would ascribe name and design to. Should I say it again? You need to understand the brand you are, its strengths and weaknesses. You need to understand it properly to be able to ascribe the name you would want to make people to make reference to. Otherwise, you are likely to give a name which is not commensurate with your brand, and your brand might not sell. What are the strengths of a sanguine? One is the type who comes across as sociable, very charismatic, confident, outgoing, warm-hearted, pleasant, optimistic, lively, fun-loving, a dull moment killer, easy apologizer, spontaneous, easy friend maker. He makes friends easily. He's loud. Loud can be nice sometimes. Sometimes you need people to be loud to drum home something. He's loud. So he comes across as that kind of a person, but he's got a weakness. And this is where I would want who is in this meeting to concentrate his attention on if it's a sanguine. Now, if you're sanguine, you are impulsive, which is not good. You're chronically late. Sometimes you don't want to get late, but you find yourself always getting to the function, to the board meeting, to the meeting, or to the appointment late. You're shameless. They are loose talkers. They talk loosely. They are compulsive talkers. They need to talk by all means. They are forgetful a lot of the times. You can be loud, but they are too loud sometimes. You can be happy, but they are too happy sometimes, which is a disadvantage. They are distractible, very distractible. They are not interested in following through with boring tasks. Sometimes you would need to. That is process. They don't like through going they don't like going through processes. They are unauthentic sometimes. They exaggerate a lot. and they are self-absorbed. I'll put that aside. Let's go to who a melancholy is. So I'm sure by now you should be seeing who you are. Melancholic. Don't concentrate too much on the strength if you know yourself. They are the very thoughtful type because we've spoken about it already. They are thoughtful, they are considerate, they are cautious, they are organized, they are excessive planners, they are schedule oriented, they are detailed, they are highly creative, they are highly creative, especially in arts, music, inventions, poetry, etc. They are independent, they are good at preventing problems. But guess what? They also have a problem. They have a weakness. Their weaknesses include the following. They are obsessive. They are too cautious. And they are prone to depression. They are prone to moodiness as well. They are the perfectionists. You see, you can't achieve perfection a lot of the times. But you see, for melancholics, they are people who always want to achieve perfection. And that is a problem. They are pessimistic. They are pessimistic. Sorry. Sorry, a bit of water. They are pessimistic. They are difficult to please. They are deeply affected by tragedy. They are tunnel visioned one way. They are procrastinators sometimes. They are discontent with others and themselves sometimes. And they are prone to play matter. They are prone to play matter. Matters of Uganda. I'm sure you understand matters. Otherwise, go for your dictionary. Those are phlegmatic. Like I said earlier on, ignore the strength and concentrate on the weakness. Phlegmatics are relaxed, they are quiet and calm, they are content with themselves, they are kind, they are consistent, they are steady and faithful friends, they are accepting, they are affectionate, they are diplomatic, they are peacemakers, they are rational, they are curious, they are observant, they are easy friend makers, just like sanguinians. But they have weaknesses too. They are sometimes shy, they are fearful to change, they are prone to laziness, they are stubborn, they are passive, they have this passive aggression, they are passive aggressive, they are indecisive, they are pessimistic, they are not goal oriented, they are unenthusiastic, they are too compromising, they are undisciplined, not indisciplined, they are undisciplined. You can't discipline them. They are sarcastic sometimes, they make joke with serious issues. They are discouraging, they are non-participative, and they are trivializers. Of course, sarcastic people are usually trivializers. Discouraging people are always trivializers. So it plays both ways. And then last but not the least, choleric. So anybody, usually when you put all these 4 personality traits together, you are likely to find people running towards choleric. They also have their weaknesses as well. 1, they're ambitious, they are passionate, they are leader-like, they are focused, they're efficient, they're practical, they are good at planning, they are good at problem solving, they are confident, dedicated, motivated, usually right, great in emergency situations, usually leader-like by nature, but they have their weaknesses as well. They are aggressive. Aggression is not good. They are domineering. It is not good. They are not flexible. Inflexibility sucks people away. They are impatient. Impatience deters people. They are rude and tactless. They are argumentative because they think they are always right. They are unable to relax because they need to get the task sorted out. They are uncomfortable around emotions. Or you come to work and you tell them, "Oh, Charlie, I lost my baby today." They're like, "Oh, okay, so you send your baby to the mortuary? Okay, no problem. Put that document on file for me. I need to send it to a meeting." They are those kind of people. They are low on empathy. They are discouraged by failures. And usually you don't find people close to them. And because people are not close to them, you are likely not to find people loyal to them. But you see, they usually like loyalty. They are discouraged by failures. They are too busy for people. They're intolerant. They demand loyalty always, which is not good. Now I want us to concentrate a bit on this. Why did we go through all of this? We went through all of this because of a story I will tell you, or I'll reserve the story for the latter. We went through all of this so for you to understand who you are. I'm sure by now, for those of you listening to me, I'm sure you're likely to place yourselves within one category. Or somebody is likely to say, oh, yeah, I have a bit of sanguine, I have a bit of phlegmatic, I have a little bit of melancholic. I'm a little bit melancholic, I'm a little bit choleric, I'm a bit more of a sanguine. I'm sure you're beginning to pick bits and pieces. That is what births the belief of the carte blanche concept. Nobody can grow in an environment with people and not pick a trait or two from the people. At least there is something about your mother that you love. There's something about your father that you love. But you see, you grow up as a totally different human being with a different mindset, with a different traits and attributes. So there's a likelihood you can have somebody who is a sanguine. What it means is that the person is over a 50% sanguine and can pick a bit of a trait from the other personality traits. You can find somebody who is largely melancholic, could be 70% melancholic, could be 70% sanguine, could be 70, 80% this, and pick a bit from these people. If you find somebody who is straight jacket, usually, they don't do well. They don't do well, or they find it difficult, relating to people within their environment, or they build relationships and in no time they break it down. The same applies to people who have a bit more of a certain trait more than others. They are likely to dwell a bit more on that, and the weakness of that trait or the weaknesses of that trait is likely to play on them, and they are likely to have relationship problems. Remember, life is about relationships. Talk of relationships. Relationship is because we want loyalty. Loyalty because we want to wield some power. We want to arrogate some powers to ourselves that makes us do more to either help ourselves or the people around us. Then brings to the next stage, the power of understanding your personal brand. Just like power, your personal brand gives you the ability to direct and influence the lives and behavioral patterns of people around you. And I was talking to Jemima earlier on. If you build a good brand, it gives you the ability to affect the course of events. Let's take a typical example. Let's say your favorite footballer for the men, or let's say your favorite musician comes to town, and your favorite musician comes to town. Um, no. Let's say your favorite personality. All right. I was in a funeral with my brother Max and the wife yesterday. Nana Brown. I know some of you like her, some of you don't like her. That's fine. You are not to be liked by everybody anyway. And there was a group that felt so good. And guess what? Eventually they became camera women. And I was amazed. I wasn't amazed, but I was amazed. I was amazed because they did that. I wasn't amazed because they have found who they like. So they would need to go out of their way to do what ideally they won't do. A typical example. Let's say Serena Williams, that you love so much, hits your office and you're working. You are likely to wake up from your seat and stretch your neck to see who everybody is shouting has come around. Serena Williams. Or let's say Tiger Woods. Or Mike Tyson, one of my favorites, or Mayweather, one of my favorites, comes. I'm likely to get up from my desk. I want to step out of my office to see what is happening outside. Remember, you are spending time to do what you're doing. You get off your desk, you spend time. This is what personal brand building does to you. It gives you the ability to affect the course of events of people. Do you understand me? And it gives you the ability to direct and influence the lives and behavioral patterns of people around you. Now, there is a few things I would need you to know, and I will rush through this. I call it the needed tools, and this helps you in solidifying and entrenching your brand. One, you will need to build what I call your intelligent quotient. Mekomesha, for those of you who speak Ga, some people are naturally, they naturally have a low IQ. I am told that there is food you can eat to boost your IQ over time. If you don't know, ask, Google, check, read about it, and start building your children now before they become like those of us who grew up with a low IQ. Low IQ simply refers to what makes you solve mathematics, memorize things, and recall when needed. And this is what is required of the students in Ghana. You know, once you have a low IQ, you're a good student. If you once you have a high IQ, you're a good student. You have a low IQ, you're a bad student. Teachers don't concentrate on you. But some of us have had serious problems, and we have set on a course to change the narrative. And I'm beginning to love the Minister of Education in recent times, not because he's MPP, or not because I am MPP. I don't do party politics, because I feel that he's doing something right. Education has to be taken a notch higher than we have known it over the years. Then one thing you also need to master or sharpen is your emotional quotient. And I'm sure we all know this. And this is what makes someone to be able to maintain peace, you know, within himself and amongst people, and be compassionate and respect people. And usually this comes with people who are contesting beauty pageants. And as a judge of the Miss Ghana brand, which is not the first pageant I have sat on. I've sat on a few other pageants. I don't know why they identify me to be a judge, but this is one of the things we look out for: your emotional quotient. This should be part of a queen. If you don't have it, you can't be a Miss whatever brand it is. The third one, you need to deliberately work on your social quotient. This is very important. We're living in a setting, in an environment where you will need to go into what I refer to as leadership networking. Leadership networking requires a lot of a lot of people with social quotient, because they bring the cohesion. They relate to people nicely, and this is what makes people be able to build networks of friends and maintain it over a long period of time. It makes people easily adapt to change and mood fluctuations. This helps in making a good ambassador and a diplomat. If you don't have one, you can't be. In fact, you need to have all the quotients to be an ambassador and a diplomat, actually. It also helps immensely in public speaking. If you have a good social quotient, you stand on a stage, you won't sweat, you won't shiver, you talk freely. Now, let's do some few permutations. You can tell me that if I have a high IQ, high EQ, high social quotient, I'm a solid guy, isn't it? Let's continue. You can do the permutations at home. Low IQ, low EQ, that you can see. So the green keeps diminishing. So you have, let's go through this. I mean, if you have low of it, it means that, Charlie, you are down there, you need to work on something. You can continue the permutation. You can do as many permutations out of the 3 as possible. I know you can do as many as possible where you are. But there's something I want you to avert your mind to, which is the last bit. I call it the new paradigm. It's called the adversity quotient. Look, you can have a high IQ, high EQ, high SQ. Trust me, if your AQ is blunt, you go through the rough patches of life and you lose it. Everything you have built over time, you kill it. Your brand you have built, you kill it. You can build a brand if your adversity quotient is as blunt, yeah, it's as bad as a sword that cannot cut. You are likely to kill your brand. So your brand can be killed by lack of an adversity quotient. So this is one thing I would want you to avert your mind to. Now, people keep asking these questions. Okay, so this guy is talking too much. Brand myself, build a brand. Why do I do that? Why do I do that? Why do I do that? 1, it is for competition. 2, it is for recognition. 3, it is for value addition. 4, it is for trust and good positioning. 5, it is for easy introduction. 6 is to enhance your credibility. 7, you are an ordinary human being in the eyes of people. Don't forget the reason why you need to brand. 8, people will brand you if you don't brand yourself. You remember we said, you remember my definition for your brand? People will put a tag on you if you don't put that on yourself. 9, erodes misinformation and disinformation about you. 10, you are the best in your space, and so you need to brand. Remember, your brand isn't what people say it is. It is what your attitude says it is. Now, let me take you through 8 simple steps to developing your brand. 1, look for your true identity. 2, create a name for yourself. If you don't have one, create one. You are called John. Say, I am powerful John. I am special John. I am this. I am that. That's your brand. Somebody calls you, say, no, don't call me like that. My brother, Charles Osesibe, who is my partner in my office, recently became the president of Africa Arm Wrestling Federation. And by extension, he becomes the vice president of the world, representing Africa. And he comes to my office and I say, Charles, and he says, call me President Charles. I say, Aboa, forgive me, forgive my language. Aboa simply means animal, So, but that is between me and Charles. If you see him and you call him that, we have a problem. You need to create a name. You need to identify who you want to sell to. So what it means is that you need to create a web. A web that will be loyal to you. Look for what you know how to do and do it. Look for what you know how to do and do it better. Look for a resource person or a mentor in that area. What you want to do, there's somebody who does it better. Even if nobody has done it before. Look, there's somebody who has done something along that line you can learn something from. Look for that person and tap experience from him. Engage rigorously in what I call the leadership networking within your area. I said that already. Create platforms to tell you. Which platforms am I talking about? Any platform. Social media, whatever it is. Create a platform where you can sell and own the platform. Above all, maintain a steady persona. Don't be seen as this today and flip-flop becomes something tomorrow. It doesn't mean that if you have 3 industries you're playing in or 3 institutions you're working in, you can create brands to manage the 3. You can create 3 different brands, but don't flip-flop. Don't intermeddle your brand. If you are not a comedian where your business requires for you to be a comedian, when you go to where serious people are, don't be a comedian. That is what I'm talking about. What your brand does to your person. 1, it makes people think of you when they think your area of expertise or classification. 2, people will research your name to know who you are, and that is very important. You are your brand. You need to own it and make it outstanding. What do you need to know about your brand yourself? 1, you are unique and there is nobody like you. And so your attitude, you will need to act, and your traits, you need to play up. 2, you are your own brand. You need to make it outstanding. Now, things to know and do. 1, get a trusted authority to help you. 2, be featured in the media. It could be whatever media, social, whatever media it is. 3, build a network. Now, remember, you don't build a network of clones or people like you. No. Build a network of people who are from diverse and different backgrounds and cultures and have different thinking patterns. What do they do to you? They add to whatever you have already. 4, attract more people, clients using your available tools. 5, create a competitive pricing for your brand. Create a premium and hardcore value for your brand, and create a lasting platform to sell, a lasting platform for reference. And last but not least, be visible at all times. Most importantly, know your audience, know the people you are selling to, because they would affect your brand. They would put your brand up. You need to create and build strategy that caters for them. Otherwise, your brand will not sell. All your efforts will be fruitless. Now, know your competition. You need to know your competition better to further develop your brand. That's very important. And your competition will mold and shape you and your brand. Your competitors have already developed something. What you need to do is to learn what they have already developed and build on it, and or do something different from what they are doing. Know yourself. Understand your own strengths and weaknesses, like we have talked about, and have it meddled in your personality, and that becomes your brand. Any brand you're affiliated with after that, look, it will sell. And understand your persona and your traits properly and manage it. Now, we are getting to the end of my presentation. The best way to compete in your space, which is already saturated, is 1, these are very important. Expand your scope and widen your reach. If it means to go back to school, do it. Get a referee or a third party who is critical on your strengths and weaknesses. Don't shun or run away from people who criticize you. In fact, welcome them and appreciate them. Get them to criticize you some more. That gets you to be a better person. Always be abreast of things and practice interpersonal communications a lot. Get a comprehensive appreciation of the milieu you are operating in, of course, your environment, maintain trust and become a trusted source, show real you in everything you do, create a lasting platform for reference, engage with leadership networking program. We said it already. Now, my last 4 keys, I call them my lucky C's. Create a contact, create a connection, create competence, and create content. Who do I know? Who can help me? What am I made of? What can I do? Remember, this is within your ability to stand out to perform, and the other side gives you the strength in the field of play. Now, my last but not least, personal brand process management. This is what a question somebody might ask. First of all, discover your brand through your traits and more. 2, create control measures for your brand. 3, manage the brand for your benefit and the benefit of others. And 4, don't forget, always express appreciation. This is a circle. Keep going through this every day. Keep discovering your brand, keep changing your brand, keep working on your control measures, keep managing your brand for the benefit of you and for others, and always express gratitude. It should be cyclical. When you do that, nature would appreciate you, society would appreciate you. Now, last but not least, and I'm sorry I need to tell you this, there is a brand war. Understand your environment first of all. It is key to making your brand work. There is war. First of all, somebody will do what you don't do. If you don't do it, somebody will do it anyway. So you need to do it. 2, somebody will take your space if you don't occupy the space. 3, somebody will write a bad story about you or badmouth you. So create a story for yourself. Create your own story and put it in the mouth of people to say. 4, there is a guerrilla movement. You would need to properly position for the war. You would need to fight the war and you would need to win the war. I would want you to say this after me. All of us cannot say it. So you say it wherever you are. You say after me, my name is Prosper Ashikwe Doku. I promise to change the way I think about the beautiful brand that I am and I am about to create and own. So help me God. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe in you. I believe you can make it. I know you must believe in yourself. So now go out. Go and believe in yourself and create a brand that will stand the test of time. And if you have a problem, and if you want to talk to me or anything of a sort, contact me on 0244646267 or 0200995999. Now, to end my presentation, I know questions that are frequently asked, and I'm sure some of them are running through your minds right now. What are brand killers? I'm sure we've spoken about them already. What are personality traits? Are personality traits synonymous with horoscopes? No, I don't do horoscopes. I don't do horoscopes. But well, somebody can do the link. If you're able to do the link and you know, please give it to me. I'll do further studies on it and I'll add it to my slides. After discovering my brand or your brand, what do I do? And these are questions people ask every day. I've told you what to do. How do I create content for my personal brand? That one, come, we'll talk. 5, what is your personal brand? And what have you done to make it beneficial to yourself? For those of you who know me, and those of you who have spoken to me over time, you would understand. Otherwise, my little credential that Jemima and myself read sells me and tells you what my brand is. I'm sure by now you know what your brand is. I'm sure by now you know who I am in terms of brand. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Questions. Thank you, Jemima.
Thanks, Prosper. You took us on a brand trip. You got most of us thinking. Thank you very much. Pardon us, we had taken quite some time compared to the usual. We'll allow some few minutes for some questions. The questions that had come in, Prosper had handled it. So in case you have any other questions which you would like to ask Prosper, you can put your hands up, then I will call you. We have Jeff Emmanuel.
Hi,
You
good
have the
evening,
floor.
everyone.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening, Jeff. I
Yes,
can hear
yes,
you.
we can.
Great, great. I hope I was following the session throughout. And I want to ask, and when it comes to personal branding, does it matter what others say about you? Do you have to be concerned about what people say about you? You know, sometimes there's this perception that, oh, you know, if people are spreading rumors about you, don't waste your time to defend yourself. I mean, you know, God will defend you, or the truth will come out and all that. But when it comes to branding, sometimes something is going out there, it's just falsehood. Is it the best thing to actually go out and defend your brand? Sometimes does it really matter again what others say about you?
Thanks, Jeff.
Should we take it
Prosper.
one at a time? One at a time?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
He's the only one we have for now. So
Okay. Jeff, that's a very wonderful question. You see, everything we do on earth, this is me trying to be every philosophical, and forgive me for that. Everything we do is defined by people. Our actions are defined by people. Our sales is to people. We are living for people. You know, everything we do is for people. So what people say about you matters. It matters a lot. Trust me, you can create a solid brand. Mm? Somebody with some level of appreciation of life that people have a lot of respect for might just go to say something that would affect your brand. Trust me, if you don't take it serious, it will kill you. So the fact that you don't need to defend yourself and that one day God will exonerate you and all of that, I tend to disagree. I tend to disagree with that philosophy or mindset. I don't think so. You would need to always be deliberate about your brand. That's very important. When it comes to personal branding, you will need to be deliberate about it. No two ways about that. You know, if you're not deliberate about your brand, people would create things that would mar your brand. You know, sometimes if people are saying certain things around them, you would need to prompt them that look, you don't say some of these things around me because they are not in tandem with my brand. They don't align with my brand. And so don't be saying stuff like that around me. I prefer you say like this, like that, like that. Eventually, when the people come close to you, they get to appreciate and understand how you think about certain things. So when they are relating to you, they relate to you in that stead or in that score, you know. So you need to be deliberate about your brand. Jeff, I don't know if I've answered your question.
Oh, you have brilliantly. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you to Jeff.
then, Prosper, to add to what you had said, I remember from your presentation, you started by saying this, in our local culture, your brand is what people say about you when you are in trouble.
Yes, that happened to be
Typical
my
Ghanaians.
yes, that happened to be my definition for your brand. And look, I have actually done a few of a few enquetes around it. You realize that you only find people saying all manner of things about people when they find themselves in trouble. They don't say anything about you. It's only when you find yourself in trouble. Maybe allegedly somebody says, "Oh, money is missing in this room," and uh, it was Prosper who stole it. Oh, I know. You know, the other day I had a business dealing with him. The way he was behaving, it suggested to me he's a thief. So he's likely to be the one who stole the money. So that's what it is. That's what it is. Your brand is what people say about you when you're in trouble.
Thanks very much, Prosper. We'll take the concluding remarks, then we will.
My senior brother Atu Sapon said one time, and it became a topic. He said the amount of knowledge you have would determine the distance you would have to travel to get to your desired destination. Should I repeat? The amount of knowledge you have or the amount of knowledge you acquire will determine the distance you would have to travel to get to your desired destination. And I appreciate that much. So every day when I do presentations like this, I love it when people ask a lot of questions, especially those that cause me not to have the immediate answers for them. What I do is that I note them down and I go to research about them. And subsequently, if I have the opportunity to do a presentation for another group of people, I use that. Tonight, I haven't had a lot of questions. I want to assume that I've been able to either convince.
So, Prosper, I think for us today, we have a little constraint on time. So what we'll do is we'll take such questions and we'll get it across to you.
No problem. So the assumption I deduce from that is that I've either been able to convince you to get you to appreciate what your personal brand is, or have been able to confuse you some more. Either ways, I'm sure we have gotten some information. Thank you very much, Imaima, and thanks to all of you.
Thank you very much. So, Prosper, on behalf of our audience, we would like to say thank you for making time for us. We know it's a typical weekend, but you had time to take us through this presentation. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to having you again for another session where we could look at other brand-related topics. Before we end today's session, as we get our cameras ready for our usual group pictures, please don't forget to follow the various social media handles for Finance Gem. We have our YouTube channel, so this video recording will be uploaded there. I'm on Twitter as well. LinkedIn, yes, we have our new LinkedIn page dedicated for Finance Gem. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Read, like, share, and give us the feedback. Thank you very much. Let's see if we could put on our camera whilst we take our group picture. That'll be all for today.
Thanks, Prosper. Thanks, Jimmy. Jimmy, can you stop sharing your screen so we can? Okay. Thanks.
Yes, I have. So let's get ready. As many as we can. And yeah, I guess you have quite a number now, right? Thanks so much for joining today's call. Pardon us, we had exceeded our time. We look forward to having our next practical session. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you too. It's been nice having all of you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.